Hello and welcome back. Now let's start the journey of pattern programming. In fact, we have unofficially started the journey of pattern programming, the concept of loops and nested loop. We tried to understand loops and how nesting of loop works by drawing certain patterns. We need to understand more here. Whatever logic I am going to teach for this pattern programming, I am going to use the concept of operators, relational operators, the logical operators, if-else, conditionals and loops extensively. So before you get into this video, make sure you watch all these fundamental videos which are there in this channel so that you can comfortably understand what we are discussing here. Fine. So as you all know, which we have seen in the last video, this logic, whatever is there in front of you, this will print 5 stars on the same line, right? In one row. That means 5 columns. It will print 5 stars in the same row. Same thing I want it for 5 more times. So this entire activity of printing 5 stars, getting the cursor to the next line, printing 5 stars, getting the cursor to the next line. This activity I wanted to print, the entire activity I have kept inside one more loop because this activity I wanted to repeat at given point of time. So I have kept it within one more loop and we try to understand how this loop is working. Fine. So you can see if I just run this, it is printing 5 stars everywhere. Fine. Now if you want, you can give one space here so that in looks wise, it will just look little better. If I just have to run here, you can see star followed by the space. It is just looking better. Now the agenda here is I want to develop a logic which will print these stars. Now you can see compared to whatever we have already developed, which is printing stars everywhere, here there are no stars everywhere. There are stars only at the specific places and in some places there is a space. Consider whatever you can see here, all these rows are the part of outer loop. Outer loop means I am referring to I. So consider these are the I values, which is outer loop. This is I0, I equal to 1, I equal to 2, 3, 4. And whatever you can see here, all these columns, consider they are the part of inner loop J. As you all know, J loop will print this all columns, all the stars in one row. That means these columns, these stars, the value considered as the J value, inner loop value. So here the value of J is 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Fine. Now if you write the same logic what we have already written earlier, it will print stars everywhere. I know want stars everywhere here. In some places I want star, in some places I want space. Fine. Now for which directly if you write the loop, it will not work out. You may have to put some condition. If certain condition is satisfying, I want to print the stars. If it is not satisfying, I want to go and print the spaces. Fine. So wherever I value is equal to 0, wherever I value is 0, I need stars. Or wherever J value is equal to 0, all this you can see, whenever J value is equal to 0, I need stars. Whenever I values is equal to 0, I need stars. Or whenever I value is equal to 4, based on the values which I have given here, I need stars. This is the value of I. All these are the value of I. All these are the values of J. Or whenever J value is equal to 4, when the J value is, these are all the J values, right? When it is equal to 4, I need star. Rest of all the places, I need space. So I'll put one condition. If in case I value is 0 or J value is 0 or I value is 4 or J value is 4, I want to go and print star. I will say system.out. Please do print 1 star here. Fine. Else remaining all the places, I will say system.out.print. It is not println. It is print method. You already know the difference between print and println method. I need space. Space means you need not write anything. Just give one space in between. Nothing more than that space. Fine. So this everything I will be keeping within my J loop. Earlier I used to print my stars directly in the J loop. Inside the J loop, now I am putting the condition. If in case these values are satisfying, I need to print star. If these values are not satisfying, I need to print the spaces. Fine. So let me complete this loop here. As you can see, I have written the J loop here. Once the J loop is done, I will say system.out.println, like the way we have already discussed. Then I will write my I loop for integer type of I equals to 0. I should be less than 5 because I want to go up to 4, and I plus plus. Fine. So same program only, instead of directly printing the stars, I am just putting some condition. If it is satisfying, go and print the stars. If this condition is not satisfying, please print the space here. What is this OR operator? How it works we have already seen, and also we have discussed the concept of the conditionals also. Fine. So let me just open the IDE here. Same program. I don't want to print star everywhere. I'm just putting some condition. This is fine. If you just execute this program, it will print stars everywhere, right? All the rows, all the columns, it will print the star. I'm putting the condition. Some places I need star, and I'll say some places system.out.println. Of course, it is print, not the ln. It is in the same line. I'll go and give 2 spaces here. Why? Because here after star I do have spaces. It will just print good. So 2 spaces. If it is 1 star without space, just give 1 space in between. So some places I need star, some places I need space. Everywhere I don't want star. So I will be putting some condition. If this condition is satisfying, please go and print the star. Go and print the star. Else, if it is not satisfying, please do print this space. Whatever space you have, given here, I want you to print this space. Fine. Great. Now I'll be putting the condition. What is the condition? If you just look at the pattern which is there here, whenever I value is 0, whenever I value is 4, I need star. Whenever J value is 0, whenever J value is 4, I need star. Rest of all the places I want to print spaces. So I'll go here and put the condition. Whenever I value is equal to 0, or whenever J value is equal to 0, or of course, let me just write here, or whenever I value is equal to 4, whenever J value is equal to 4, I need star. Let me just make the value of n is 5. N is 5 means it's fine. 4 we can give. It will print the right pattern. I will make it dynamic also, generic also. Let's do that first. Let me just run this application here. You can see we are getting the pattern as per the plan. Whatever we had planned, the same pattern we could able to print here. Fine. Now instead of me giving the 4 here, what is the value of n? N value is 5. And how do we get 4 if the n value is 5? That means inside the n we have 5. If we want to get the 4, if I write here n, if I write here n, if I write here, that means it is 5. I want to print less than 5. Less than 5. 0 to 4. 5 patterns, 5 stars if you want to print. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. That means it should be less than 5. Because we are starting the loop from the 0. So if I write n here, it will go for 5. And the loop is not looping for 5 times. It is looping for less than 5. It is looping, the maximum is 4 here. Less than 5 is till up to 4 only. And we cannot write here n. So I will say here n minus 1. N minus 1. And here also I will write n minus 1. What is the value of n? The value of n right now is 5. 5 minus 1 is how much? 4. 5 minus 1 is how much? 4. You writing the 4 here. It is same, right? 4 I am writing. Or you can write n. The value of current n is 5. 5 minus 1 is 4. Both of them are same. Fine. So now if I just run this program, you can see here, we are getting the same stars without any problem here. This is basic math. I hope you can able to understand here. So consider starting value 0. If the value of n is 5, the last value is always n minus 1. Which is 5 minus 1. 5 minus 1 is 4. I hope you could able to draw the logic here. Fine. Now suppose I want to achieve, let's try to write more patterns so that we can understand this better. The next pattern, which the agenda here is, let me draw the pattern here, for which we may have to develop the logic. Now let's develop the logic for the given pattern which is there in front of us. Fine. Now same logic, the loops will be, you may have to write the loops, it will be same. I'll be focusing only on whatever we write inside the if block. Fine, the remaining logic will remain same. I will be just writing, let's focus on writing this logic which we may have to write inside the if condition. If that condition is satisfying, we want to print the stars. If the condition is not satisfying, we may have to print the spaces. So let's focus only on what we may have to write inside the if block. In the nesting of the loops, in this particular video, we have understood how we have to write the full program. Now let's focus on the logic which we may have to build in order to get this pattern. Fine. So whenever I value is equal to 0, I value is equal to 0, I want to print the stars. See here, whenever I value is 0, I want to print the stars. Great. Whenever j value is equal to 0, when j value is 0, I want to print the stars. Fine. Or whenever j value is equal to 4, you can also go with n minus 1. Fine, n minus 1. If the value of n is 5, it is 4. N means, of course, n minus 1, that is current value of n is 5. 5 minus 1 is how much? 4. You writing the 4 or you writing the n minus 1, both of them are same. If you write n minus 1, it could be generic. You can just change the value of n, the same pattern will print. Maybe you can give value of n is 10. Then it is 10 minus 1 is 9. The last value it will print. The last whatever column is there, for that column it will print the stars here. Better to go with the value of n. Fine. So if you write j equal to n minus 1, that means the last column, that's the last value is always n minus 1. The last value is always n minus 1. You can consider that. Fine. This is fine. Now I know what stars here. When the value is n minus 1, I value is n minus 1. The last, I know what stars everywhere here. I want star in the middle. Fine. So if this is n minus 1, if n minus 1 is 4, n minus 1 by 2, that means n minus 1 is 4, 4 by 2 is 2. Exactly at second place we can get it. We can say I equal to 2, I need star. We can say that, there is no problem. Instead of we seeing 2, we can also say n minus 1 by 2. What is the n? N value is 5. 5 minus 1 by 2. That means 4 by 2. 4 by 2 is how much? 2 only. So you writing n minus 1 by 2 or you directly writing 2, there is no problem. If you write directly 2, if in case if you want to increase the size of the pattern, you may have to make changes here also always. So in order to make it generic, if we change the size of the pattern, n value if we change, we want to change this pattern, then go with the generic n. So you write directly 2 or n minus 1 by 2. That means exactly half. If this is n minus 1 by, if this is n minus 1, n minus 1 by 2, half of this is middle, right? So I will go with n minus 1 by 2. So we will be able to get this pattern. Let's go to the IDE and try to get solution for this. And we have already seen this. Let me just comment this part. So I would like to just write the same thing here. And let me write the logic for the pattern which we have got it. Whenever I value is equal to 0, I need star. J value is 0, we need star. And whenever j value is equal to n minus 1, the last column, we need star. And whenever I value is last column, the last row, we no need stars. Half of that we need star. So whenever I value is equal to n minus 1, the last value, divided by 2, that means half. If the last row is n minus 1, half of that is n minus 1 by 2. I hope that basic maths everyone knows, exactly at half. And if I have to just run this program, you can see on your screen, as per the plan, we are able to get this. Let's draw 2 or 3 more basic patterns and then we will go for the advanced so that you are getting comfortable for this. So now the agenda here is, the end goal here is, we may have to draw this pattern. So let me just write down that pattern here. As you can see, let's write the pattern for these 3 things, these 2 things, okay? So you all know these are the value of I equal to 0 here. And the last value is always I equal to n minus 1. The first value is j equal to 0 here. And the last value is n minus 1. And of course, if the last value is n minus 1, exactly the middle value will be n minus 1 by 2. Half of that. And if the last value is n minus 1, then the middle value, exactly at middle, we have n minus 1 by 2. By 2 of the last value. If the last value is 10, then 10 by 2 is 5, right? 10 by 2 is 5. So of course it is the middle. I hope that fundamentals you know. So I know one starts everywhere. I'll be putting the condition is if in case I value is equal to star. Let me just change the pen here. I value is equal to star. I need star. That means I value when it is equal to 0. I need star. Great. Apart from that, do we need stars when the I value is n minus 1 by 2 or n minus 1? No, that's all. Great. Whenever j value is equal to n minus 1. N minus 1, if you stop, it will print last. Entire column will be printed. I don't want that. N minus 1 by 2. N minus 1 by 2 means exactly at the middle. When j values at this point, I need stars. When I value 0, I need stars. Rest of all the places, I need spaces. We may have to put within the if block for this, right? Now coming to this, you can see these all the I values. I value 0, exactly at mid. I values n minus 1 by 2. The last is n minus 1. Here 0, n minus 1 by 2. The last is n minus 1. Great. So whenever j value is equal to 0, I need star. When these all the j values, okay? When j value 0, I need star. Great. Whenever j value is equal to n minus 1, that means the last value is always n minus 1, I need star. Great. Or whenever I value 0, I don't want. I value is n minus 1, I don't want. Whenever I value is at the middle, these rows, I value is equal to n minus 1 by 2. N minus 1 is last. By 2 means exactly at the middle. Whenever I value is equal to n minus 1 by 2, I need stars. Rest of all the places, we may have to print the spaces. So let's go and write the same logic in the IDE here. So of course, this particular condition I would like to comment down. I'll go here. First, let's write the logic for the t. So whenever I value 0, I need stars. And whenever j value is equal to n minus 1 by 2 at the half. N minus 1 is the last value. Half of that, if the last value is 10, half of that is 5. At the middle, I need stars. Fine. So if I have to just run this, you can notice we are getting the pattern as per the need, whatever we were expecting. Fine. This is the most easiest one if you could able to get it. Now, of course, for the h also, it is very, very similar. So I would like to say here, whenever j value is 0, I need star. Or whenever j equal to n minus 1, the last value, I need star. If you write only this much, then of course you'll be getting these two things. And whenever I value is half, I need star. So what I'm going to write here, I will say here, or whenever I is equal to n minus 1 by 2, that means half of, if n minus 1 is last value, half of that is the middle value. These all rows are considered as the I values, which we have already discussed. So if I have to just run this, you can see we could able to get this pattern. Fine. So before I even go for the any complex pattern, I would like to show how do we write these patterns one beside the other. We can write it by writing a big expression inside the if only, by writing i's, j's, all the logics together. That will be complex, but we can write one beside the other. How do we write? Let's try to understand that here. Let me create a new program first of all. You all know this particular logic which you can see on your screen will print h. If I just have to run this, please see here, we are getting the h. Okay, there is some error exits. So let me just rectify that. Of course, we may have this extra one. Okay, I think we may have to close the method. We may have to close the class. Done. The problem is solved. Let me just run this. If I have to run this, you can see we are getting this. I want something beside that, right? So what I'm going to do is, before system.out.println, before that, same thing, same j loop, I will write once again. I will write this once again. It is in the same I loop. This is the closure of I loop. In the same I loop, before system.out.println, I am writing this. Maybe let me write for one more. I will go here and write for one more. That means 3 alphabets we can print now. In between, if you want space, I will say like the way you can see here. See here, maybe I want 2 spaces, so I'll give 2. It should be print. between one j loop to another j loop, whatever system.out.print I'm writing, it should be print not ln. How much ever space you want, you can give here. Fine. See here, at the end we have system.out.println. Within same I loop, before system.out.println, I have written 3 j loops. This will print the value of h, and let's go here and print the value for the t. Maybe t means I equal to 0, or I will say j equal to n minus 1 by 2. When the j value is at the middle, this will print t. And if I have to maybe print here, let's print I value here. I means whenever I value is equal to 0, or I value is equal to n minus 1, that's great, or j equal to n minus 1 by 2. When the j value is at the middle, I value first, last, and j value is at the middle. Fine. So let me just run this application. If I just have to run this program, you can see we are getting the things in the same line with the required space also. H, T, I. In the same row, if you want to print the multiple patterns, one beside the other, how to write, I hope you have seen. You can rewatch the video. This is recorded video. That particular part, if you have missed, you can just go to that part and rewatch it. So I hope you were able to understand the fundamentals of patterns here. Fine. So let's draw a little bit more complex in terms of alphabets only before we get into the complex pattern programming. How to draw the triangle, rhombus, all those things, right angle, triangle. In fact, you will be in a position to draw someone's face. All of that, we will see to it. Let's go ahead here. Maybe I want to draw D here. Fine. So I will say here, this is my pattern, of course. As you can see, it is looking like a D. So you all know that these values are I values. So I value here is 0. And I value here, the last value is always n minus 1. So of course, by default, the middle value will go for n minus 1 by 2. Same goes here. J value here always 0. The last value is this. At here, the j value is n minus 1. At the middle, it is n minus 1 by 2. This you already know. Now, if I say whenever I value is equal to 0, it will print star from here till the last. But I want till 4. When j value is n minus 1, here I know one star. I know one star here. If you write star, it will be like the first pattern which we have developed. I want it to go here and it should be like this. So here I know one star. Fine. These are the j values. So when I equal to 0, I need star. But at that time, I'm putting and make sure j value is less than n minus 1. All these are j values, right? When I equal to 0, I need star. That time, make sure this j values, whatever you have, it should be less than n minus 1. Less than n minus 1 means wherever n minus 1 is there, that particular place star will not be printed. Less than that, before n minus 1. So this place star will not be there. Before that, star will be printed. Fine. Or this is done. Whenever I equal to n minus 1, if I say, stars will be printed from starting till the last. Here also star will be printed, but I don't want here. I want to stop it here, right? So I will put and I value is, or j value, these are j values. These are j values, right? So j value is less than n minus 1. That means this is j is n minus 1 here. It should be less than this, before this. That means still here only. It will print this. And of course, here there is no problem. So I'll say here, whenever j equal to 0, I know star from starting to last. No problem here. Now, how about the remaining stars? Consider these are the I values. These are the rows. These are the, columns, j values. These are the I values. Fine. This is fine. No problem. I'll say or. Now, whenever j equal to n minus 1, if I say j equal to n minus 1, you will be getting the stars from starting till the last. If you just say n minus 1, j value, this is n minus 1, right? It will print starting full row. I know one stars here, right? So I'll be putting the condition and I value, make sure that time is greater than 0. Because this is I is 0, right? I is 1 here. I is 0 here, 1 here, 2 here. Greater than 0. That means after 0. When j equal to n minus 1, this line I need star, but I didn't even, I know want everywhere. That time make sure when j value is n minus 1, I need star, but make sure I value is greater than 0 after this, after 0, and I value is less than n minus 1. This last value of I is n minus 1. It should be less than this. So when j value is n minus 1, this row I need star. But during that time, I value should be greater than 0. That means after 0, I value is before n minus 1, less than n minus 1. So that line I want stars only here. So when j is n minus 1, I value should be greater than 0. I value should be less than n minus 1. Only these places I need star. So only I am putting and here. Making sense? One more example I will take here so that you can understand better. So let me just write this logic. Same logic I would like to draw here. So if I have to, write here, let me go back to the previous example. And of course, I may have to just change this part. So let me just comment this part and let me write the same logic which we have already discussed. Let me write that logic here. As you can see, I have developed the logic here. So whenever I is 0, that time make sure the j value is less than the last value. Whenever I is n minus 1, the last row, make sure that the j value is less than the last value. Of course, it is not n minus 1 by 2. It is just n minus 1. It should be less than n minus 1. Fine. So whenever j value is 0, that line full I need star. There is no problem. Whenever j value is n minus 1, that time also I value should be greater than 0. When j value is the last n minus 1, I value should be greater than 0 and I value should be less than the last value. If I just run this program, you can see as per the expectation, we can get the result. On your console, you can see the result. We are getting this D. Fine. If you want, you can stop printing this, space. You will get just stars. It is looking like a D only. Fine. So let's write one more last alphabet logic here so that and or operator you can get comfortable before we get into the complex pattern programming. This is just the part 1 of it. So let me just draw one pattern for which we may have to achieve the logic here. Let me write down the pattern here. Now let's develop the logic for this. Like it is looking like a O, or you can say circular shape. I want to achieve this. Fine. So what I'm going to say here is whenever these all the I values, I equals to 0 here, I equals to n minus 1 here. These are the j values, j equal to 0 here, j equals to n minus 1 here. Great, keep this in mind. Whenever I equal to 0, I need star if I say and if I stop. Star will be printed from starting till the last. I know want here also, I know want here also. When I is 0, I want star but not everywhere. So I'll put and j value should be greater than 0. These are j values, right? It should be greater than 0. And j value should be less than n minus 1. J value should be less than this. These are j values. So when I equal to 0, I need star. That time make sure j value is greater than 0 and j value is less than n minus 1. Only in this place I want it. Fine. This is 1. Or if I say whenever j equal to 0, it will print star when j is 0 from starting till the last. So I know what everywhere. So again I'll put the condition and these are the I values, right? I will say here I value is greater than 0. When j is 0, I need it. But I value should be greater than 0 after 0. Not 0, after 0. Here, all this I should be printed. And I value should be less than n minus 1. That means this should be less than n minus 1. This is the last value is n minus 1. Before this, when j is 0, I value should be more than 0. And I value should be less than n minus 1 before this. So all this I want star. Great. Same goes the other two logics. So I'll say here whenever j value is equal to n minus 1. This part is also same. When j value is n minus 1, I value should be greater than 0. I value should be less than n minus 1. Before this, after 0. So again, I would be writing the same logic. I value should be greater than 0 and I value should be less than n minus 1. Great. Or the last value, when I equal to n minus 1, if I say only this much, stars will be printed everywhere. That time this j value should be greater than 0, less than n minus 1. Only here I want. That time when I is n minus 1, make sure j value is greater than 0 after 0 and j value is less than n minus 1. If you write this, definitely you will be able to achieve that. So let's write the same pattern here. Let me just write down the logic for the same here. So whatever I have discussed, same thing we have written here. Fine. So let me just run this program and see if we are getting the desired result. You can see we are getting the desired results. Whatever we had planned, we could able to get that result here. Fine. So with practice, if you just focus more, you will be in a position to understand the approach which I am trying to say. Fine. We have to discuss more on this approach. This is start of this journey. Fine. I hope you could able to understand. If you could able to focus anytime, you can rewatch the entire video. Again, I say before getting into this video is you should be comfortable with the concept of operators, if else, and the loops which we have discussed. Kindly watch those videos. If you face any difficulties, first complete that videos one more time. And again, get back to this video and you can also watch it in 1.5x speed, 2x speed, but with complete focus, you will be able to understand what is the approach I am trying to say. This is about the part 1 of pattern programming. I hope you are also getting comfortable with the concept of loop, if else, and the operators also. Now, by keeping in mind that you have understood this, by rewatching the videos, by practicing it, by listening to the focus, I'll be discussing the part 2 of pattern programming, where we'll try to discuss little bit advanced concept. Fine. And also to make sure, please do like the video, do comment, and also share with your peers and the colleagues. Thank you so much again for joining me in this video.